Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracing Bible. Welcome back to another Saturday evening stream. We're back today. We're in Live for Speed, and we're going to be checking out some of the latest mods to be released for Live for Speed in the S3 license. So it's been a little while since we've done this, so there's going to be a few mods that we haven't seen yet. So looking forward to giving those a try this evening, having some fun. So welcome along, guys. It's great to have your company as always this evening. Big news as well this morning. We rolled over 2,000 subs on the channel, so huge shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Really do appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you very much for all the support to get us to 2K. So yeah, let's get ourselves over into the game and see what we're up against this evening and see what we can get involved with. So right, get myself in here as well. Nice. So we'll go down to hot lapping and we'll just ease ourselves into this one. So you obviously saw from the thumbnail we're going to be checking out this this new beast, but we'll come to that in a moment. So let's get ourselves to the very top of the list and see what we have available to us today. So the family hauler. I don't know if we've driven that one yet. This is the problem. You've got so many mods available to you, you just forget which ones you've driven. But I don't think we've driven the family hauler yet. So let's start off with a little bit of minivan action this evening. So we'll try this. Got a cool looking... Okay, this is not your average minivan. I can already tell that. So, it looks like an average minivan from this kind of direction. Okay, it's got some alloy wheels on it. We come to the front here, and there's some significant camber going on there, so something tells me this is going to be interesting. There's also no seats, other than the driver's seat. Let's get into it. So you've got a road and a rallycross setup as well, if you really wish to take your people carrier off-road. Let's go on the free-roam version of this so we can explore all the avenues of Blackwood. Alright. So here we go. Nice dash. It's got a nice wooden dash to it, some good detailing on the vents and so forth. Right. Let's see what this thing's got under the bonnet. A V8 by the sounds of things. Let's turn the FFB up ever so slightly. Right, we'll do a quick lap of Blackwood just to get used to this. Sounds pretty good. Whoa, it's lively. Okay, so I'm pretty right in thinking that this is not your average minivan. This one's a little bit potent. Hey Turbo, welcome along. Because it's left-hand drive only. Oh, okay. Have I broken it by making it right-hand drive here? Well, it's certainly getting along at a reasonable pace. Oh, that's probably why, because there's no gauges. That makes sense. There's also no brakes. I wasn't paying attention. Right, let's go back again, and we'll change to drive, shall we? Let's see if we can do that now. I don't remember where we do this now. So drive. Is it? No. Game. No. We missed. Is it? Where is it? It's probably eluding me here, but on the screen, no. You. I'm completely missing it for some reason, so that's fun. Yeah, it's there. Of course it is. It's in the driver. Right, let's go left. And we'll go back to the pits and then we'll come back out again. And this time, there we go. We got some gauges to it. There we go. Right, now we can see what this thing's actually like. So we've got a column shifter up there as well, which is more of your automatic style gearboxes rather than your manual ones. But there are column shifted manual gearboxes. Mostly the really old cars from like the 60s and 70s used to have column shifters. I do like the horizontal speedometer there, and this little red line to tell you where your speed is. We're quickly up to 80 miles an hour here, and now we're beyond the gauge. The gauge is like, no, I'm not telling you how fast you're going. You don't need to know that. Right, let's get on the brakes earlier this time. And the red gauge appears again. Oh, yeah, definitely brakes are not as good as the engine. It's quite nice when you get it sideways, though. It does quite easily get sideways, but once you are there, you can play around with it a little bit and hang the rear end out. Very nice. So I've made a change to my my Acertec Invictus this week. I've changed the elastomer in them, so I've now got the black elastomer, which is the strongest of the three. So you have a green, a white, and then the black one. So now when I push the brake pedal, it's literally just a single wall. But I'm finding so far it's actually quite nice in terms of really leaning on it, but then also I control the pressure bleed off. So when I start to come off the brake pedal, I don't know, it seems to feel a little bit easier with managing that pressure and trying to trail brake into corners. So something to get used to this evening. Right, well let's cut across into the infield here. No, we haven't got the rallycross setup on. Let's see how it handles it anyway. Over the jump. Lands quite nicely. Nice big side windows to look out of, because you need that when you're going this sideways. Up over the big jump into the hairpin and promptly spin it. Okay, well this is quite a wild people carrier. I think if all people carriers were this crazy, I think I'd probably be a bit more interested in them. But that's a pretty mad machine, that. But good fun at the same time. So and it's nice to do. I mean, the model itself looks pretty nice. I mean, I think it's, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming it's some kind of, is it a Dodge-based pickup? No, pickup, or is it a Chrysler? Someone flying past outside. Yeah, I think it's a Chrysler van, isn't it? But it's kind of got a Dodge grille in it. But either way, very cool. Right, moving on. So we've driven the Raybeam F97 before by Turg. That's a very, very nice mod indeed. Let's move down here. So we have this, the Bavaria A82 Hellspec Ultra. So this is your new BMW M4, I'm going to say, because it's the coupe or the two-door. It could be an M3 as well, actually. It could be an M3. But it's a little bit specced up in this one by the looks of things. You have a couple of cone filters in behind the grille here. It's very angry indeed. You've got some upgraded headlights on there as well. And obviously, it's got some lowered suspension, some little rear spoiler on there as well. Big double exhaust out the back. Quite a cool looking model, this one. So we've got two setups here. We've got the so M4x1 and the HKST88 setup. I'm not quite sure what the difference is, other than suspension chain. Oh, has this got slicks on it? It does. Okay, that's going to be a bit of an animal on track, isn't it? Well, I'll drive the standard one first just to see what this is like. What colour options have we got here? Got some nice. Oh yeah, look at that, red with yellow calipers. Oh, and the cone filter change as well. That's pretty neat. Like that. Black's pretty menacing, isn't it? You know, I quite like the grey actually. The grey looks quite cool. Orange, bright yellow. Yeah, probably not your standard factory colour, that purple. Blue's quite nice as well with the white filters. So the filters and the caliper paints colours are corresponding. Okay. Oh, there's too many choices, that's my problem. We're going to go with, let's go with the grey one, that's kind of cool. Right. We're still left-hand drive here, of course, so interior looks quite nice. We've got a kind of a carbon fibre, looks like a forged carbon style steering wheel on there with the rev lights in the steering wheel as well. So let's see if that actually, does that correspond? No, it doesn't. Okay. Other than that, we've got like a nice texture on the dashboard. The actual center console looked quite bare, so I don't know whether that's just because it's been stripped out or not. I don't know, but either way, go give this a drive. Let's crunch our gearbox on this one. Oh, it does work. Okay, that's good. I wasn't sure whether it's just because we weren't in gear. Stop. So obviously bit of turbocharge action going on here. You can just hear them spooling up in the background there. Instant pickup from the engine. It's got very swift gear changes as well. The sixth. Quite interesting with the dual rev counters on the either side of the main dash there. Goodness, we have no brakes. Let me just see if that's my side of things which is causing that. Let's just have a quick check on here for the controls just to make absolutely sure. No, we're definitely getting the inputs we need. Your axes there. Yeah, no, that's fine. It's just the fact that we're just going so quick, it's not slowing down particularly easily, so that's fine. Right, let's take this out onto the roads. Just turn that down ever so slightly, so you have to kind of tune the force feedback to match the car. Some of them are heavier than others, so there we go. Let's come out of the pits here. We'll see what this is like on a road situation. Love the turbo flutter when we come off the throttle there. It's very nice. Right, up to the roundabout. Of course, the obligatory donuts around the roundabout. Something odd going on with the force feedback there, actually. It kind of... That's a lamppost. Yeah, it kind of... Oh, it's kind of weird. It's curb's a lot taller than I give it credit for. Yeah, there's a reasonable amount of force on the center part here. Then you get past a certain steering angle, and it's almost as if it tries to pull it in the opposite direction, like there, which is kind of strange. You kind of expect it to, I don't know, just give way, but yeah, it definitely just tries to snap it the other way. So there's perhaps something not quite right in the geometry for that one, because it's a very strange feeling indeed. But although it does help with maintaining some big old drifts around some of the corners, that's why it's geared up like that. Quick turn into the car park there. Okay, well, let's check out the slick variant of that as well, just to see what the difference is with those. See if we have a bit more grip. The sounds are nice as well for this one, though. It does sound good. It has that six-cylinder kind of sound to it. I expect to have a bit more cornering and stopping ability now we have some grippier tyres on. Ooh. Still wild. So what are we getting up to down the straight here? So 135, 150. I'm going to peer over my steering wheel to see the speed there. 180 miles an hour. Probably the reason why we're having such difficulty getting it stopped. I was a bit more successful with the slicks though. Definitely more of a track-focused version of the car, this one. It's also not limited to the 155 mile an hour that you would get with such a car in real life. This is been tuned and delimited, obviously. And again, the back end is quite happy to break traction on you, even with the slicks. Oof. That's not stopping. The handbrake to help us around there. Okay, yeah, so overall model looks nice, sounds good. Feedback on the wheel, not too sure about. Something feeling a little bit strange there, but pretty mad creation though with all that power available to you. So there we go, Bavaria A82. Let's see, what else have we got? So next up, the GM SST Parasati B5, which is obviously based on a VW Passat, but like a Super Touring Edition version of it. So here it is. Super Stock Touring. Pretty cool. Definitely looks like a B5 Passat. Looks quite a reasonable model there. We are running on treaded tyres though. We haven't got a slick option, have we? Possibly not. Got road normal there. Let's just do a new setup real quick here and just see whether we can actually put some slicks on this one. No. You're stuck with the treaded options on that one, but that's okay. Go check it out. Let's change it up. Let's go to Rockingham. Drive around there. I did see when I had a quick flick through earlier on, there's quite a few super touring style cars been released for Liver Speed, so we'll check them out. So here we go. Interior. For a super tourer, we can see the roll cage in the mirror there, but steering wheel is very standard. Obviously got the standard dashboard in there as well, and standard door handles. And our H pattern. So rather than being like a true super tourer, I suppose, this is more, I think it says like a super stock tourer, so it's probably slightly more production based. Let's get ourselves nicely slowed down for the infield section here, just so we don't run on. Okay, this is needing a bit more in the way of force feedback, so turn that up a little bit. To the top of the hill, turn it in. So again, this has got some interesting force feedback going on as well. So it kind of stiffens up. So it's kind of loose around the centre, then you turn it in, and then you start applying power, and then the force feedback tightens up. It's kind of interesting. Into Tarzan hairpin here, that's yes, it's really weird. So the initial turning is really light, and then the more you go through the corner, the more the force feedback tightens up. Kind of strange, but it's okay. Into the chicane, flick it through here. Didn't check if this was front or four-wheel drive. I think it's only going to be front-wheel drive. It should be, but you never know. Maybe a four-wheel drive version of it, but. Dolro, hello, welcome along. How are you doing? Thanks for being with us this evening. Hope you're doing okay. Hope everyone's having a great weekend so far. Didn't even try and get into six. Is there 6 gears? I think there is. Yeah, again, just weird sensations to the steering wheel. Something to get used to. Yeah, very unusual. Are you streaming it on Twitch too, or just YouTube? I'm just on YouTube, Dollar. That's the only place I currently stream. Did think about testing out the waters with Twitch, but I haven't done anything about it yet. Just because I've seen a lot of the, yeah, I guess the compression on YouTube is really difficult with the streams. It just always looks really bad. Video-wise, I can make it look quite nice, but you know, pre-recorded ones. But when you come to the streams themselves, they always look really poor quality. At least I think so, anyway. So I don't know whether that's going to be any better on Twitch or not, but might be worth an experiment at some point. Okay, so pushing on a little bit now with the Parasati, I think it was called. Sounds very much like Parasite, but okay, there are 6 gears, that's good. I have to sit on the rev limiter in 5th. That's not stopping. I'm not even going to attempt to get into the hairpin there. Okay, yeah, so again, unusual on the force feedback side of things. I mean, it's strong, there's no denying that, but it's just where it kicks in and it gets stronger partway through the corner, which is interesting. Okay, let's go back to the pit lane here and take another look. But yeah, I like the look of the model. I think it looks really cool. It's not a car you see very often as a touring car, so it's good to see that being done. Okay, let's move on. Next up is this. This is the Flip Trick 004, which is I guess a take on a 911. It looks like a mixture of kind of Singer and RWB styling to it, so it's had a little bit of input onto this one. It's not a standard stock 911, shall we say. Yeah, I mean it's always a difficult one to get right. There's so many kind of curves on the model, isn't there? So it's very difficult to get those right, especially with the limited polygons here in Need for Speed. But yeah, solid job. We have a couple of little triangles and things sticking out in different places, but other than that, it looks quite nice. And I like the duck spoil on the rear end as well. It's quite more aggressive than a regular duck spoil as well. It's a bit more vertical, that one. So we've got some color options, of course. So we have green, the red one's quite nice. Very bright yellow, a cream kind of a color, and then the black as well. Quite like the red on this one. As you can see, there's a fuel filler on the front there as well, which is quite cool. Right, let's take this one for a drive, shall we? So Daughter says, a couple of friends of mine are on Twitch. The chat functions and options for viewer interactions are miles ahead of YouTube. I would love to see you there too. Oh, cool. Well, we'll take a look for sure. Right, let's have a quick look on the inside here. So, yeah, it's quite nice. You've got all the array of gauges in front of you there. Ref counter you can see. Speedometer you can't really see too well because it's hidden behind the steering wheel itself. But the clock's visible. That's the important thing. Right, here we go. Okay, quite a cool sound. Whoop. Hello. Something tells me this particular car might not be designed with hard track driving in mind. It could well be that it's more focused towards, I don't know, cruising around on a beachfront somewhere. So when you throw it at corners, it might not necessarily like it too much, but we'll put it through its paces and see what happens. It's wobbly. Obviously, 911s will do 911 things if you don't keep them in check. So you gotta be ready for it. Obviously, the weight is over the rear end there, so it's one of those things. If you do get it sideways, you have to do an awful lot to try and get it back in line again because the weight just takes over. But there's some sort of TC kicking in here because there's a fair bit of interference when I'm trying to power out of these slides on the exit of some of these corners. Backing it into the chicane. Yeah, there's definitely a TC going on there. It's kind of dulling things off. Let's go back and turn that off because don't need none of that nonsense. Right, let's do a new setup here. There we go. Where are you? Brakes and TC. Traction control off. Thank you very much. Right, now we're in for it. How is the force feedback on this Oligate? Actually, you know, for a 2002 title, it is very good, and it's you know, I've got it set really low. As you can see, when I change the settings on screen, you'll see it's only like 5 to 7%. And obviously, I'm using a 20 Newton meter direct drive, so plenty of power available from that. But Live for Speed is certainly capable of outputting an awful lot of force through your wheel. Okay, now we're talking. This is a bit more lively, but also easier to get off the corner with a little bit of right foot. Oh, that's nice. A little bit of understeer going into the corner there, but nothing that a right foot can't cure. Right. Oh, this is actually really fun. Again, it's that little bit of corner entry oversteer when you're on the brakes trying to get the thing into the corner, which is quite a fun challenge to try and get around, really. Let's take the fast chicane this time rather than the flat out first corner. This is pretty chaotic. Yep. We've got the first part, it's not the second bit. Whoa, and we're gone. That's actually really fun. I do like that. It sounds really nice as well. Force feedback's good on this one, so glad to see that, because it's not some reason my settings which are having issues. This is feeling more like I remember Live for Speed force feedback happening before we had our new computer. So this is the first time we've run Live for Speed since the new PC, so everything's working as it should do. But yeah, so I think it is just the actual model itself which was having the weird force feedback thing going on, but very nice indeed. Like that one. That's a fun car to drive, that one. Right, so from classic Porsche to something slightly different. This is the Mecha 371 monoblock. Yes, it's a bus. We have different configurations. We have config 1, config 2, which has the side windows completely blocked off, so you can't see the fear on your passengers' faces as you slide through the corners. We have config 3, which opens those windows up again. Is that just... Oh, okay, so it's black bumpers. Is that the only difference? There's a bit of black trim on the top there as well. Okay, config 4. Here's the black bumpers with the no windows. Okay, well, we'll stick with config 1 for this one. Let's have a look at the info here. So this is a 9.7 litre turbocharged inline 5 rear-wheel drive, great for drifting. It produces 249 brake horsepower, so maybe not quite got the power we need, but we'll give it a good go. Yeah, and just a nice, cool, nearly 8,500 kilos in weight. So yeah, let's go give it a try. Let's take this to somewhere where there's roads rather than just a racetrack. So let's go to West Hill here. We'll go off onto the perimeter roads here and test out the bus. Okay, here we are. Eden Frank, welcome along. Good to see you. Right, well, this is a pretty cool looking cockpit here. So we have lots of switches on the dash there in front of us. Can't quite make out what they all mean. It looks like there's... Oh, it looks like a pile of mashed potato being hit by a spanner on one of them. I'm pretty sure that's not what it is. But yeah, nice looking dash. Let's see what that gauge is in the middle. Okay, is that... Oh, there's a rev counter in the middle. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, and then obviously the big windscreen wipers on the windscreen there. Very cool. Right, let's take off in our bus. Quickly up through the gears. Right, well, we'll take this off the racetrack because This is not its natural habitat whatsoever. Let's turn it. Oh, goodness. It feels heavy. It also feels like it's quite a long vehicle. Gonna have that delayed steering as you come around the corner. Right, I will have to again turn that horse down a little bit because it's rather heavy. Right. Onto the roads we go. Sounds are pretty good. It's I guess for an inline 5, it's not quite the I don't know what I was expecting with the sound really, to be honest, but either way. Oh, Frank, thanks for the €5 there. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Well, we made it through the tunnel. That's good. We didn't take the top layer off. Where should we go? Let's go around the roundabout here. Oop, there's a curb. Need to give a bit more room than that, Phil. Giving the passengers a bit of a wake up in the back. I think they were falling asleep, so I just wanted to make sure they were still with me. There we go. Ooh. Yes, definitely need to give yourself plenty of room when you're trying to get around some of these corners with this thing, because it's twice now I've clipped something on the inside. Oops. I think this is a tighter corner than I was expecting it to be. Get it stopped. Good brakes for a bus. Technically there should be air brakes, but I'm not sure that's possible to do here in Live for Speed. Turn in. Yep, definitely caught some grass there on the inside. Oh, where are we now? I don't think I've ever seen this bit. Where on earth are we? Can we get out that side? Yeah, we can. That's good. So you're not really from Germany, but German heritage. Ah, cool. Awesome. Don't spend it all on booze again, Phil. Don't worry, there's absolutely zero danger of me doing that, because I don't drink. So, yeah. Absolutely zero worries about that going to waste. Adora, you're from Austria. Awesome. Cool. What are we doing here? We're not quite sort of cruising along just under, well, just over 60 miles an hour, so reasonable turn of speed on this thing. Just straight over the crossroads. Bus is right away. Okay, well, so far we figured out that this thing is, you know, reasonably slow. It's got a little bit of a large turning circle and things to be aware of. What are the brakes like? Let's see what they're like when we come down to the end down here. So, for example, oh look, there's a passenger that wants to get on down here, but we're doing nearly 80 miles an hour. Slam the brakes on. Will they have to run for the bus? Yeah, just a little bit. Not too bad though, considering the weight of the thing. I think that got stopped reasonably well. Now we have to build all that speed up once again. Now, of course, we mentioned at the beginning that the bus has rear-wheel drive. So let's see if it can drift. I don't know if it will, but I'll give it my absolute best shot here. So let's try and induce some sideways motion at some point. Let's just... Okay, well, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to use the handbrake, if that's even going to be mapped on this thing. I don't know if it... No, doesn't even like it. Right. Let's build up a bit more speed, get a bit more momentum on our side, and see if we can get it sideways. That's the game. We might need a bit of space, so we might just cut across into this car park here. Take off. There we go. Right. It's just not going to do it. It hasn't got the power to do it. Not even a clutch kick would manage it. But there we go. Pretty standard bus, really. It's it definitely feels heavy. I will concede it is a cumbersome piece of equipment, but it's quite nicely done. I mean, the model looks nice, and the seat detail is nice as well. Nice carpeted texture on there. What happens if you actually put in? Can you put? They haven't got passenger option, have they? No, that's fine. But yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a few buses on Live for Speed. We've done bus races before in the past, so right. Carrying on. Back to regular car action here. This is the Borum, another VW, second VW of the evening. Obviously based on a VW Bora. Reasonable model, I would say. It's I always thought the Bora was quite a cool looking car. It's got nice proportions to it. I think the rear end might be a little bit squarer than perhaps it was in real life, but it's okay. Some nice bright color options available to us. Most Boras you see in the UK, they're either this color or yeah, like a grey, yeah, that kind of color. That's your typical Bora. So we have two variations of Road 1 and Road 2. That's not a road variation. There's no number plates on it. You get pulled over for that. Right. Well, I'm going to turn my driving side back over to the right, so I feel a bit more at home. So, oh, hang on. Try that again. Oops. Gonna go to the pits and then back again. Okay. Well, this one only has left-hand drive. What I can tell you is the driver seems very relaxed. He's got his hand upon the wheel like this, just cruising along, just chilling, enjoying himself. Right. I don't think he's quite expecting me to be behind the wheel here, so you might regret that particular hand positioning. It also means I can't see anything other than when I turn the steering wheel. Dora says, I want to see a race between a tank and a bus. Okay, well, we'll see if we can make that happen. I know there's a tank in here. Let's see if it's still there. And if it is, we'll set that up. Right. Let's see how this steering wheel position handles some spirited driving. He's hanging on reasonably well. So the interior looks like it's still work in progress potentially here, because it's a very flat dashboard in front of us there. The steering wheel texture is nice. I like the perforated leather look to the steering wheel. It's testing the grass tracking capabilities of the Bora. So Frank says the Bora driver has his hand on the wheel like that because he's a local dealer that switched his Bimmer for a Bora. Just flying under the radar. Okay, so he's like a small time dealer. Going under the radar, yeah. I mean, ideally, of course, you should have his arm on the window as well, his elbow on the window, so he can be properly. And we should have an option to be able to recline the seat all the way back as well. So, wasn't expecting this car to be particularly quick, and obviously it's not, but it's getting along reasonably well, considering. I had to throw it in there because still didn't make it even with throwing it in there. It's still getting used to the braking. Yeah, Dora, you got it. Lay a seat all the way to the ground. You just see it go past, and it's like, is that anyone actually driving that car? There's like no one in there. I wonder, I didn't check the specs on this one. I don't know whether this is modelled after a diesel, but looking at the rev counter, they're going up to 4.5 at the red line. I'm not sure if it is or not. Possibly. It kind of sounds dieselish, but We'll double check that when we get back to the pits. Just giving all the marshals a good thumbs up as he drives around. It's very, very friendly, this driver. Oh, which gear I was in? I was going into taxi mode and just putting into 6th. There we go. That's what this car is made for. Just cruising around in 6th gear everywhere. Especially if it's the diesel, I have the torque to do that. So don't change down, just keep it in 6th. Save all the fuel you can. Alright. Well, that's the Borum. Is what it is. I wonder whether does the Road 1 version. Let's see if he has a standard. No, he still has his hand in that position. Okay. Let's still check. He also has an antenna, the radio antenna for the Road 1. Taking that off for the race spec. What was it? So it's a 1.9. Yeah, so I think that's the diesel engine. So it doesn't specifically say diesel, but I think that's what it is. 1.9 TDI. Very good engines, actually, the VW 1.9 TDIs. Probably not quite as economical as they perhaps said they would be, but that's a different story for another day. Anyway, let's move on. Next one up is, I think we've driven the Krankenwagen before. I think we have, so we'll skip over that one for this time. There's another Borum there, which is a super stock one to go along with the Parasati. So we might come back to that one as well. So let's move on. So this is the Radeon, or the Radeon M39, which is obviously an old 5 Series BM. Slammed to the weeds by the looks of things as well. Not much gap between wheel and arch. Has it got a carbon roof, or is it just blacked? Either way. Let's see what this one's like. This has got a 4.3 litre V8, so this should have a fair amount of poke to it. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Okay, interior-wise then. Again, it's got the very familiar-looking BMW steering wheel to it. Although it's obviously not a BMW, you can't call that a BMW, it's not allowed to be. Dashboard looks alright. I can just see on the bottom side down there, there's actually like an app display, so you can see Google Maps and music and all that kind of stuff, which I would have thought would be an add-on. It wouldn't be a factory in these particular models. It's too old for that sort of thing. Must be retrofitted instead. Okay. Then one here at Westhill. And of course, more than happy to kick the rear end out through that. It's got a lot of go. I did say it would do, because it's got a thirsty great big V8 under the bonnet, but that's actually quite nicely balanced as well. Right, let's cut off to the left here. We'll go around the short loop of Westhill. Let's play with the throttle through there. It's a little bit deep into that one, thankfully. The chassis is working in our favour and allowed us to showboat our way out of that little miniature disaster that was waiting to happen there. And now we've started. We can't stop, it's like Pringles. There we go. Regain control, Phil. Down into the slow left-hander. Again, rear end is wanting to play. Let's try and get through this corner safely. No, it's not happening. I've applied some heat to the tyres and now it's like, no, you need to carry on with this. There's no stopping me now. This is one of those dangerous, vicious cycles you get into when you start applying a little bit of wheel spin action to the rear wheels. Temperatures rise, and they keep on rising because you keep on going sideways and just adding more and more to it. And less likely you are to make the next corner without sliding and spinning out. Alright. Well, happy to report the force feedback's nice on this one. Feels very nice to drive. There's a good amount of detail in there as well, but it's also you get a good feeling of the weight of the car as well. So when you do chuck it sideways, you can kind of you just feel where the slip angle of the tires are. You can just feel where that limit is, and you can kind of just hold it there and just balance the car with the throttle and the steering inputs, and it's nice. It works really well. I like the deep rumble from the V8 as well. It's not raucous and loud. It's quite subtle and quite nice. So it's, yeah, a comforting V8, I suppose you could call it. It's just like, yeah, you know, a very soothing sound. Still going sideways though. BMW power, it says on the bridge there, and I'm certainly not complaining about it because it's definitely got the power we're after. This is really nice actually. I really like this one. Let's go around the longer loop here. Right. Drive it through the corner. We allowed a little bit of oversteer on the exit because, you know, that's what happens when you're on the limit. You just don't always need to be going through the corner completely broadside. Fun as it is. But sometimes it just can't be helped. Even on that section there, which isn't really a corner, it's still like, oversteer? Do you want some? Yeah, have some more. And then it just spirals out of control. But not really, because you can actually control it. It's just spirals into more and more angle, which, I don't know, puts a big smile on your face, so it's all worth it. Brakes are good too. Gets it slowed down quite happily. Ugh. This is nice. You can get all sorts of shapes on this particular dance floor. Look at this. Backing it into there. And that's the grass. Okay, I'm just going to finish it off with this little flick of a chicane here. That is a very flattering car for getting it sideways and making you look like you know what you're doing. It's quite easy to drive that thing and get sideways and just have a blast with it as well. So yeah, like that a lot. That's really cool. Nice model as well. I think I mentioned this in the past. The some of those kind of era of BMW cars are the E46, the E36, and then obviously the corresponding 5 Series as well. Very difficult to get the shapes right because front end's quite rounded, so sometimes they'll look too squared off, and same with the rear end. But this one's actually really nicely done, so you can get a looks pretty much right there. I think there's the rear end's probably not quite got the cut underneath as the real cutters, but it's really not far off at all. So it's a really nicely done model, that one. So good job. Right, moving on to the Hayato we've driven. We've driven the HRD Rot. So we'll move on to this, the GM SST TS JZZ30. Catchy name. A little bit worried that it's only got 1.5 stars. Let's see what happens here. This is another of the super stock touring cars to go along with the Borum and the Parasite. So this, I think, is supposed to be a chaser. Is that the correct name for it? It's a Toyota Chaser, I think, is what I know it as being, as when I've seen these in New Zealand. But okay, cool looking car. Only one livery available for this one. 2.5 litre inline 6 rear wheel drive. How much horsepower? 200 brake horsepower. Okay, so not huge, not massive. Should be enough for a laugh. The Matty Online evening. Congrats on the 2K, by the way. Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks for being here. It's good to have you with us. Okay, so this has got a standard Live for Speed model interior. So this is I think it's the XRT dash. I want to say, it might be wrong, but it's a standard Live for Speed interior anyway. Right. Even with 200 brake horsepower, it still pulls away in 3rd gear. Good to know. Ooh. Alright, so there is one thing which you've probably already spotted, and I've just spotted now, is that I can check I've also got my mirror on the right hand side there, and I have the side window. I can also have a little bit extra vision if I'm particularly close to a car in front of me. There's a little hole just inside where the mirror is, where I can see the road there. So that's gives me the competitive advantage when I'm racing against other cars. Also has a secondary benefit of providing air conditioning for the driver. Forced induction. Right. Well, it sounds nice, actually. So, six-cylinder engine. Definitely I can hear that. Bit of transmission whine going on there as well. When you have a nice engine note like that, it makes heel and toe downshifting even more satisfying. A little bit of echo going off as the sound bounces off the walls nearby there. Yeah, so force feedback is quite strong for this one. Down to the complex, down to third, chuck it in. So unlike the Parasite and the Borum, this one is rear-wheel drive, so you have kind of touring car style performance, but with some rear-wheel drive fun to be had as well. So you guys who love your touring cars, what's your preference? Do you prefer front-wheel drive or do you prefer rear-wheel drive touring cars? Because obviously a rear-wheel drive touring car is going to be probably the nicer driving experience. But if you're in a race against other touring cars with typical touring car style racing, which is usually pretty close and quite physical as well, I don't know, for me I think you almost just need to be in a front-wheel drive car just for that forgiveness factor. So what I mean is that when things do get very physical on track and people are bumping into each other or running into the back of them, you don't really want to be in a rear-wheel drive car and then get attacked from behind, because trying to save it is it's not an easy task, and sometimes you just can't. Whereas at least with front-wheel drive you can mash the throttle and have a pretty good chance of getting the front end back in line again. So I don't know, when you've got a mixed field of front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars, although the rear-wheel drive has its benefits obviously off the line and cornering, exit grip and things like that, but I don't know, in the cut and thrust of things, you'd want to be in a front-wheel drive car. It's my personal opinion, but it'd be interesting to know what people think. There's a curb there. So Matty says, never picked up any of the paid upgrade memberships on Live for Speed, just pretty expensive for what it is these days. They should consider doing sales weeks, etc. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, when you were looking at Live for Speed back in the day before modern capabilities were allowed, I think, yeah, you might be like, well, the price is quite steep for what it is, but to be honest, I really like the handling model in Live for Speed. I love the tyre model, which is really nice to drive on. But now we have the modern capabilities with S3 that opens up a whole new depth to the game, and I think it makes that S3 package a bit more, I don't know, just a bit more value added to it as well, because there's so many really good mods available for Live for Speed S3. So yeah, be worth upgrading if you get to that point where you feel like you want to do that and jump into that. But yeah, Live for Speed is good fun. Frank says all you need is a 4x4 Alpha 155 with Nicola Larini at the wheel. Yeah, four-wheel drive touring cars definitely give you the best of both worlds, really, and a little bit of extra when it gets wet. As far as the GM SST TS JZZ30 is concerned, yeah, not bad. I mean, it was definitely better than the 1.5 stars, which I was expecting this thing to be. But obviously, there's a few issues with holes in the bodywork, etc. But driving-wise, yeah, it's not too bad. I think that drove quite well, and I like the sound of it as well. And the model itself, from the outside at least, looks pretty cool. Right, Moving on. Something completely different now. This is the supercut. Now, we've driven supercuts before in Automotive Listed 2, and they're crazy, and they are in general, because what happens when you get a kart chassis and stick a 250cc engine on it and a 6-speed sequential gearbox, and yeah, just let it go. It's pretty insane, but this thing looks really fun. So it's got the full long circuit bodywork on it. We have the area on the front and the big wing on the rear, two exhausts coming out the back here. Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got four-wheel disc brakes on this particular the kart. The brakes are just as good as the engine in this regard. Obviously, it's super, super light. It's only, what is it, 140 kilos, which is nothing. So, absolutely insane. So we have a race setup and we have a noob-friendly setup, which I'm assuming just, I don't know, has it got less power or something? I have no idea, but we're going to go straight into the race one. I think that's sufficient. Right. Color options. We have the flame one. We have plain red, blue with a very, very green rear wing, and then all grey. So we'll go with the blue and orange spec here. We'll stick with West Hill for the time being. Kevin, hey, how you doing? Says congrats on the 2K. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for being a part of it. So he says Snetterton tomorrow on TV to see FR touring action. Yes, British touring cars this weekend at Snetterton. Watch qualifying before the stream went live. So we'll see what happens there. It's been a pretty good season so far. Meta says it's amazing in VR though. Yeah, again, a lot of people have said it's very good in VR. I've not tried it in VR, but I have heard good things about it. So Frank says non-QR Kevin. Let's come to know us. Right. This is going to be sequential. Okay, now we have a motorbike gearbox in this, so we've had to go shift down to get into first gear, and then now we're in first gear. It's just up and down like normal. So, right. Two-stroke engine in this thing. Let's launch into this. So, hold on to your fillings. We are going to be hitting every single bump on the West Hill circuit and feeling each and every one of them because there's no suspension in this particular thing. Already up into 6th gear. Oh, yeah. So, the big claim with supercars, of course, is that they are pretty much as quick as a Formula 3 car around long circuits. All thanks to its power to weight ratio. There's our first spin. Maybe we should have gone the noob spec one. Oh. Have we stalled it? It's got no drive. Hang on. What's going on there? Let's try that again. Oh well. Restart. Try not to spin. So that's that towards the first corner. We're already doing pretty much 130 miles an hour as we chuck it in. It wasn't a spin. Only a half spin. I was just so keen to see what top speed we can get up to the first corner there. Just didn't want to lift. Right. Off we go. Yeah, big oil mess in quality it was, yeah. That was that could have been much worse than it was. I think thankfully there was a fair amount of runoff on that particular corner, which meant that there were a couple of touches with the barriers, but nothing massively substantial. I think if you're at, say, Alton Park or Croft, perhaps, there could have been some big damage there. Alright, already down to the complex with the supercar. Obviously not a huge amount of steering lock available in the car. Oops, let it roll too far. Okay, well, managed to keep the clutch in that time, so... Yes, it won't take curves properly. Okay, we're up and running. imagine it's like a radical cross with a supercar. Yeah, see, we're finding bumps which we never even knew existed on this circuit. Okay, I'm going to turn the force feedback up a little bit because it's feeling kind of light when we get into the corners, so we need every bit of feedback and information we can possibly get to get this thing through the corners safely. So what I do love about it, obviously you got a very quick steering rack on this thing. There's probably only about 180 degrees of steering on these things. So steering is very direct. But it's also one of those things where karts are really unique handling vehicles, so it's you just don't drive them in the same way that you do a single-seater or a GT car or touring car. There's a very different style of driving to them, so when they break traction or when they get sideways and things, you can kind of skate them through the corners. And I can feel that with this particular kart as well. So it's, I've never driven a supercar as such, but I have driven TKM outdoor car, which we used to race, and that was good fun. And I can feel elements of that kind of handling here now with this one. Obviously, it's going considerably higher speed than my TKM would go. Oh, Phil, don't get on those curbs. I already said not to do that. I think having a go in a supercar would be something special. I'd really love to give one a go at some point. That would be just to experience it, just to feel what all that acceleration is actually like, because it's pretty brutal, really. Yes, you're allowed a little bit of slippage through the corners, not a whole heap like that. That's just far too much. I think our tyres are complaining at us now, but yeah, definitely. We've got to drift mode time, which is obviously a challenge, trying to keep your tyre temperatures on a nice level situation here on the speed at times when you do overcook them. But definitely you are allowed a little bit of slippage as you go through the corners. And when the tyres are new, you can achieve that with this kart. You can actually get it through the corners and just kind of fingertip drive it all the way through the corner and just feel where that grip is. Big long straight there, 145 mile an hour pretty much into turn 1. Most more grass. And then throw it off again. Okay, well, I'm curious. That's obviously the full spec supercar. Let's see what the noob friendly version is different. That's what I want to know. How is this different? Is it as quick? Still doing nearly 130 into turn 1. Okay, so it already feels a little bit more a bit easier to handle, I suppose. Couldn't quite tell you why. Maybe it's a difference in tyre grip. No, it still gets sideways when you upset it, but it feels a little less on edge, I suppose. Yeah, you can still throw it off when you hit the curbs like that, though. Yeah, it's good fun, that. Yeah, quite like the supercar. They've done a good job with that. Nice model as well. Sounds, you can definitely tell it's a 2-stroke engine in this thing. But yeah, it's good. Good fun. I think that's the first kart I've driven in Need for Speed, which I can say actually handles like you'd expect a kart to handle. And it, you know, looks the part as well. So yeah, good job with that one. Right. What have we got next? Now, I think we've driven the Fraud Pre-Runner before. I do have a feeling that that one might be a little bit more extreme, perhaps, than the one we have driven in the past, but we might come back to it. Let's go on to this. This is the SVT Mini Mouse Car, also known as a Smart 4.2, which actually kind of leads on quite nicely from the supercar. And you're probably saying, well, how? But this actually has a very similar tracking setup to a kart, in the fact that it has a narrower front track than it does a rear track. So it's wider on the rear than it is on the front. And it's probably about the same wheelbase as well. No, I was just joking. But you'd think, so with that kind of setup, you think, oh, well, a kart handles pretty well. So surely that bodes well for the SVT Mini Mouse car to have decent handling. Now, I can tell you from first-hand experience of driving a smart car, which my dad had at one point, they don't handle brilliantly. Chronic understeer is the name of the game, and a very vague front end. So let's see. That's the same in Need for Speed. So we got a white option, we have a blacked out option with black wheels as well for when you don't want to be seen driving a smart car, and you have the red version. My dad's car was actually like an acid yellow, so you certainly knew he was coming when he was driving that car. The seats very much like I remember them, and obviously have these little pods on the dashboard. It's got a much more racy steering wheel to it than the actual road car. So let's see what this thing's like. So in the smart car, it's actually an automatic gearbox, but it's got a Tiptronic version, so you can manually adjust the gearing as you wish. I remember driving it, except it actually is manual. But I remember driving Dad's one, and you're in, say, second gear, and you want to go up to third. It was literally this long to take from second to third gear. So in the meantime, your head's gone with it. Yeah, that's the timing. So thankfully this one has a manual gearbox, so which means we should be able to get some slightly more swift gear changes. Yeah, a bit more like it. So let's see then. Handling wise, obviously it's about as tall as it is long, so it's very interestingly proportioned, this particular car. So you do wonder whether you're going to get a bit of lean through these corners. Yeah, it does feel like it's moving around a bit. There's a little bit of that understeer I was talking about there. Probably over-induced there by myself, but let's see what it's like turning into here. Yep, there's I can't say I ever did that with my dad's smart car. However, yes, that's the understeer is definitely there, which is good, which means that it's done correctly. I know Brabus did a version of the smart car which they tried to improve on. Not sure whether the handling was much better or not, but in standard form at least, the smart car was not particularly great around corners. Does a good job of finding the barriers, though. We bent the mirror. Got itself all in a bit of a tizzy there. Right, let's get a fresh one. And go again. As far as the sound's concerned, it does sound right. So obviously this is in the real world, this is quite a small capacity engine. So I think they're only something like 960 or 970 cc. So very small capacity. And I think it was a 3-cylinder as well. So this one has that kind of a sound to it, and just about tell the tones of the engine a little bit. It's obviously quite muted, but you can tell there's that 3-cylinder type sound, which of course is half a Porsche engine. So that's what we're gonna just say it's a high performance engine. Alright, this is the corner where we had our massive understeer moment before. There we go. Corner was running. Obviously we're going through that quite quickly, but it never really found much grip through there anyway. Well, I do like the steering wheel on this one. Obviously it's not standard, but it's quite a nice looking model steering wheel. But yeah, handling wise, I would say it's pretty good, as you'd expect. You have that little snap as you eventually refine a bit of grip after you've finished understeering off and towards the outside of the road and all the hazards that present themselves on that side of the road. But yeah, handling wise it seems to be driving as expected, which is good. Inside the dashboard, of course, it's quite basic, not much to it. Gonna go find our own barrier again. Not quite this time. But yeah, there we go. That's the it's the Smart, the SVT Mini Mouse Car. Nice model, I will admit, it does look very good from the outside. So if you wish to drive a smart car and see what they actually like to drive, you can test drive one in Live for Speed now. So if you want something which is an out-and-out pure driving experience, I'd probably say try something. But it's fun nonetheless. Okay. Continuing on with the rather long-winded acronym names, we have a series of more super stock touring cars released here. So we have a Zara type car, and we have a couple of Audi A4s, one four-wheel drive, one front-wheel drive, and then there's also a what looks like a 190. That's it's the longer one, isn't it? It's not the 190e. So it's I'm going to test out the A4 here in four-wheel drive spec, which you can tell by the graphic down the side, just to remind you that you're in the four-wheel drive spec car. Again, A4, B5 models, one of those ones which is quite tricky to get right. But yeah, not too bad on this one. It's got the Super Touring style front bumper on it, and obviously the rear wing as well, very Super Tourer-esque on there. Just the one colour option available. And again, we just have the standard interior. This one revs up all the way up to 8,500 RPM. Something about a race car that has a wooden dashboard in it. Interesting. Three-tone one, so obviously four-wheel drive here, so should have tendencies towards understeer if anything else, but should also have great traction out of the slow corners. So let's see, let's put that to the test and see what happens with that. We'll find ourselves a slow corner soon enough. 6 gears. out of it. Use the four-wheel drive. It's not a rally car, Phil. So going sideways there, I don't know, the four-wheel drive is not really pulling me out of those slides quite like I would expect it to, I suppose. We go into one of the slower corners here. Let's see what it's like out of here. Yeah, so it's kind of... I think it is handling like a bit of a mixture between front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. It's definitely neither one nor the other, but it also doesn't quite have that... I don't know. It's almost like it's missing that front-wheel drive. So the four-wheel drive squirt off the corners, especially trying to get out of the slides and things. It just seems to handle more front-wheel drive-ish. Again, I think this is... I think it's running a standard Lippespeed sound on there as well. I think obviously there's a bit of transmission noise in there as well, but that's not turning it. Yeah, okay. It's I think if you had a series of all the super stock cars all together, that might be quite fun to drive and race against each other. As a driving experience themselves, yeah, they're alright. They're not too bad. But I think racing those would be probably where the fun would be had. So let's carry on. Right, the cover car. This is the Lamborghini. Now I can't remember what I can't fully remember what the name of the actual real life car is. Is it the Reventon, or is it something else? Have I made that up? Either way, this is the latest of Lamborghini's offerings to the supercar market. And they certainly haven't held back in the design department for this one. So, gone even more aggressive on the front end of things. So, these kind of star-shaped, I guess they'd be daylight running lights in the real thing. It's got the kind of familiar Lamborghini front end to it there. The roof has its own little kind of molded sections above where the driver and passenger seat sits, and then a channel down the middle. The side, of course, you have this huge slash for feeding air into the engine, which is obviously it's a mid-engine car. 6.5 litre V12 in this thing, so it needs plenty of air to be able to produce all that power. Very, very small spoked wheels on these things. Big brakes, of course. No calipers though. This is braking by magic. It's fine. And then over the back here, look at this. I mean, that's just super, super busy there, isn't it? And you can see into the engine in the back there. And then you have these central exhausts with these kind of hexagonal shapes around the outside and shrouds on the outside of the exhaust. And then obviously diffuse at the back here as well. What I have noticed is it has Ford GT style floating rear arch things there to help channel airflow around the back of the car. So that's pretty cool. Evening, guys. How you doing? Welcome along. Just taking a look at this new Lamborghini by Tutu here. This is one of his mods. So we have a couple of options here. We have the road setup, and we also have a track setup which has slick tires as well. The road one also comes complete with number plates. Very sensible. Means you don't get fined. No number plate on the rear though, so you could still land yourself in a little bit of trouble there. I believe there are options. If we go new setup on here, if I say setup 1, so here we have this setup here, but you can change the configuration down here. You can actually fill this section with paint rather than just having it black. So if you didn't like the all black front end, you could put some paint back on there, or do it with or without the number plate, so should you wish. So I actually think the black inserts look a little bit better, so I'm going to run with that. So yeah, 6.5 litre V12. Let's put it on track. 1,015 brake horsepower. So it's definitely got a bit of poke, this one. Let's go to... Where should we take this one? Let's go back to Rockingham for this one, I think. And give it a drive. Right. So sat in the cockpit here. This is a really cool looking cockpit as well. So we've got a nice chunky looking steering wheel in front of us there. You've got some good texturing on the top of the wheel rim there. And of course the Lamborghini emblem so proudly displaying in the middle of the steering wheel there. Also extra detail on the mirrors, which are very, very polygonal design to them. But you also have in there the objects in mirror are closer than they appear, just to remind you. So that's good. But you can see there's some nice kind of Alcantara-ish textures on the dashboard there as well. So very cool. Right. Quick sound check. Revving all the way up to 9,500 RPM. Sounds pretty good. Okay. Well, it's certainly got some speed to it. Then you'd expect that for over 1,000 brake horsepower. Just going to do a quick lap around the oval here at Rockingham, just to get some speed runs done. So that's 160, 170. Hitting the brakes so we don't measure the Lamborghini's length in the concrete barrier. He says, about to do it anyway. Oh, that's a good £1,200 worth of damage done right there. Let's get a respray. Okay, so high speed stuff. Pretty good grip, unless you go in way too hot like I did. But yeah, pretty good top end performance. We'll cut into the infield section on this lap and just get used to how the car handles through some more twisty corners. We won't do the fast chicane though, that could end up in absolute disaster. Not that running around the oval is going to make it any easier. You missed the wall that time then. Right, test out those big magic brakes of this Lamborghini. Yep, not bad. The invisible calipers are doing their work there. And the third gear for Yentwood. So you got a bit of TC kicking in there on the exit of that corner. Does sound good. So that's pretty good traction control levels, I would say. I mean, I'm obviously going into some of these corners way too quickly, but it's kicking in and stopping a lot of the oversteer action, which would be happening from going too hard on the throttle on the exit of corners, but then it's releasing at a time when it's not really holding you back too much, so that's pretty good. No, it's not stopping. Oh, it is. Whew. That's the added advantage of invisible brake calipers. You have absolutely zero brake fade, so you can you can really lean on those brakes. Here we go. Let's try and get through turn one a little bit safer this time. And by safer, I mean broad sideways. That's the safest way to get through turn one oval here at Rockingham. And hard on the brakes, back end kind of rotate on the way in there. Okay, so when you're in the really slow speed corners like that and you get sideways, that's when TC does hinder you a little bit trying to get off the corner. But there, you know, it's quite, you know, it is quite intrusive, but at the same time it's good for those people who don't really know what they're doing or aren't used to going sideways through corners, so it does kick in and stop you from having too much of an accident. But we can still have accidents, clearly. So let's go back to the pits. Let's go to our setup here and we'll switch that off. And we might just switch to track mode actually. Has this got TC on? Doesn't. Let's do a new setup here. We'll do 2. This one will turn TC off. Right. So now we have slicks. Same power, of course, and no TC. So let's see what difference that makes. V12 screaming away. Okay, now it's a little bit more lively. Oh, that's grass. Thankfully, there was a right-hand corner. Saved my bacon. Now it's a little bit more of a handful. So I say a little bit. A lot more of a handful. Let's turn that down a sec. Okay, what we can prove from this experiment is don't take your new Lamborghini to the beach, because you will get stuck. Oh, man. Let's see if we can complete one complete lap with this thing. In relative control. Treat it as if this is your own track day car, Phil. No huge heroics. Plenty of missed corners, though. Thankfully, there's space here at Rockingham. You can just turn around and go again. Missed the sausage curb on the inside. That's the last thing you want to hit with this thing. Cause a lot of damage to the front bumper. I'm not quite sure how much this car costs in real life. I suspect it's probably not affordable on my particular wage. So it's good that we have the opportunity to drive such a thing virtually. That was quite nice, actually, off the corner there. Just had a nice bit of oversteer. Not too much. Nice little bit of oversteer just to let me know traction was about to break free. Just have to be oh so careful on the throttle trying to get out of these corners, because as you can see, very, very easy to go too far with it. Alright, this time it brakes much earlier. Whoop. Oh, we're getting all thrown off our groove. Let's bail out to the right. Take that cone with me. No! Yep. There's an expensive crash. Well, that's very nice. I do like that indeed. That is very, very cool. Yeah, nice model and great sounds. Lots of force feedback on there. It's quite communicative as well, driving that car. And you know what's going on. But yeah, it's good to see a very, very new supercar added to the sim. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. Right, forwards we go. Right, race car time. This is the Panther Silhouette Racer. Now, it's a NASA in this one. This is a Super GT specification car. I'm trying to remember what what model this one's based on. I want to say Sylvia, but I don't think it's a Sylvia. Is it I think it's the Skyline, isn't it? Anyway, either way, it's one of the mad Super GT cars, and I love the rear wing assembly on this, and I just thought, well, we need some downforce on the rear, what should we do? We'll put this wing on there, but is that wide enough? No, we'll add a couple of little extra winglets on the either side of it just to produce a little bit more downforce. And you get this huge splitter on the front, and then these fins running up either side of the bonnet to help channel this thing in a straight line. So it's a really wild looking car. It's got turbofan wheels on it for extra aerodynamic effect down the straights, and then cooling vanes in there to keep the brake temperatures low as well. But yeah, very, very cool indeed. Again, just the one color option. So we have a base version and then a track version. Okay, I'm not quite sure why the base version is that much higher, but track version is where it's at, so we'll drive that one. Let's see how it goes. It is a Skyline, yeah, no, I thought it was. How hard is it to create a car for The Sims, guys? I've not done one myself, but I think if you're a talented 3D modeler, I don't think it's too bad. But I'm not a talented 3D modeler, so I couldn't tell you. But I appreciate everybody's options and everybody's releases that they put through for the mods here on Need for Speed, because I respect all of their abilities and skills to be able to do so. So it's all very much appreciated in all shapes and sizes of mod. Right. So outside the car looks really good. I like the model on the outside, and the inside is also rather cool as well. So you've got some, a nice custom dashboard on here. So all the dials in there. We have our speedometer on a little stalk on the left-hand side there, like the button box on the center console down there with some nice carbon fiber texturing on there. A couple of aircraft switches on there as well. Very functional interior on this one, but it's a race car. It's all about performance. Sounds pretty good too. Oh, that's cool. I just noticed the center of the rev counter on the dash there lights up with a little red ring around it when you get to the red line, which is pretty nice. I've seen that done before. That's very cool. Turbocharged as well, of course, this thing. So it's also no brakes. I'm used to the lack of brakes after being in that mad Lamborghini, or Lamborghini, should I say. So this is kind of Group 5 specification of car here. Okay. It's probably just as wild as I was expecting it to be. Hard on the brakes. Trying to get it slowed down. Ooh. Oh, it's on a low ride height. It caught the curb on the inside there, and that on the outside, that kind of launched me a little bit. Okay, need to be aware of that. Access Phil could easily do mods for LFS, it's just that he's too occupied with the many women that surround him. Oh dear. I mean, I probably could do 3D modelling if I had the time to do it. You are right, Frank. But I just need to learn how to do it. Graphic design I can do. But, yeah, 3D modelling, very different. We'll just carry on round. We missed the turning there, but we'll carry on. So those classic brakes caught me out again. We will brake for the final corner here. So even with all the body kit on this thing, the car's still moving around through the fast stuff. It's not completely glued to the ground, right? Info. Stopped. There we go. that wasn't a view I was expecting to have with this car, I will be honest. But yeah, more proof that the ride height is very low with the track spec version of this car. It's another curb to tick off to say avoid that one. This time, stay off the curb. Turn in. Get up to fourth gear, trying to control the rear end a little bit. Don't run it wide on the exit here, Phil, because that's where you launched it last time. Okay. Made it through that. Instantly on the brakes to try and slow it down for the hairpin. I am pushing the brakes like crazy, but they're just it's just not slowing down. You have to almost be on the brakes as soon as you left the previous corner just to get it stopped. Okay, hard on the brakes. Use the engine braking to slow it down as well. If it didn't, but it wouldn't be an SRB stream without me clouting some form of sausage curb somewhere, and there's a grass rotation for you guys. Well, that's pretty fun. I do like that car. It's very fun to drive. A little bit of a challenge to keep it on track, but it's the kind of challenge I can get behind, to be honest. Right. Moving on. Have we driven the Noctarian GTR? I think we have. So we'll go on to the next supercar, which is the Koenigsegg CVV, which is a CCX Koenigsegg. Again, another wild supercar. This thing has probably got, well, it's only 807 brake horsepower, this one, so it's a baby. It's tame, this one. But yeah, model looks good. It's got the rear wing on it to stop the stick from eating tyre stacks. Yeah, quite a basic looking supercar, really. I mean, they're not flash and outrageous like a Lamborghini is. It's functional is the word, but so I'll tell you what function they have is super impressive. Right, let's go to Aston for this one. We haven't been to Aston so far this evening, so we'll go on track here and see where we go. Okay, right. Exterior model looked quite nice, but interior, yeah, okay. So it's kind of a, I don't know if this is like this is in the real car. Maybe it is, because am I right in thinking the Koenigsegg has a removable roof? It's possibly why we have this kind of beam that comes up around the front here, like a windscreen, but then we have a whole separate thing on top of me. Anyway, steering wheel's it's like it's from a 1990s Ford Escort, actually. It's quite a basic steering, but the dash is nice. I like the detail on the dash. The Pioneer stereo looks like it could be a little low res, but that's okay. Right, now this one has sequential gearbox. I thought the Koenigsegg had a manual H-pan, but not to worry. Let's see what this V8's got for us with its 807 brake horsepower. Turbo spooling. Right, so turn it in there. Ooh. A lot of understeer on the way in there. Okay, we're up and running. You wouldn't want to do too many full throttle runs in this thing. Like, turbo sound would certainly cause some tinnitus. Right. Down to 4th gear. Still not enough. Spool it up. Try and boost out of the gravel. There is some traction control going on there as well, but not too much, I don't think. Let's slow down for the chicane up the hill here. Try not to launch it off the top. It's almost like that that noise you get, kind of interference over a radio, isn't it? It's kind of off-putting, really, that turbo sound. I mean, I appreciate it's there, but it's probably a little loud for what it needs to be. I know it's boosting hard and everything, but I don't think it'd be quite as loud as that. For some reason my music keeps kicking in and out. Don't know why that is. Handling wise, it feels quite ungainly, really. It's it feels quite heavy and just almost lethargic through the corners, so you haven't got the pointy front end as you would do maybe with some supercars, but yeah, you I think I'm not going to drive any more of that, just purely because the turbo sound is a little bit too much for me. Right. Shame that, because it's you know, obviously the exterior model looks really nice. But is what it is. Right, moving on. Okay, what have we got down here? Right, so here's something I wanted to test out. This is the Beats Gimney or Gimney trial spec. There's a couple of versions of the Gimney in Live for Speed. This is a super soft trial spec one. Let's just drop that again. Huge knobbly tires on this one. So this is the off-road only version. We have a street version. Is it just... I want to set a little bit higher. Stop it. Right, okay. Let's see if that quietens it off. Right, so we got the white, we have orange, kind of camo green, blue. Oh yeah, we got the nice colour stripe on the side. Number plate on the top of the firewall there, because you can't mount it down there because you've got a winch in the way. CB radio antenna there. I mean, those tyres are just ridiculous, aren't they? Right. Well, this is off-road only. We better take it to an off-road only place, shouldn't we? Which would be where? Where should we take that? Do you see the ironic thing and just take it to South City, like all the other off-roaders in the UK? Let's go to Fern Bay. We'll start off on the rallycross circuit here. Let's test its off-road capabilities. Okay, so into the interior of the Gimney. So you can definitely tell there's some textures taken from other Live for Speed models on here, but the actual dash itself, I think, it's not a stock dash from Live for Speed, so that's quite good. So it has had some inputs put onto it. Very strange why that's kicking in. through the gears. We need to get off this tarmac. This is not where it belongs. So let's peel off this direction. Ooh, it's rolling around. All right. Now we're onto the grass. The dirt, should we say. So with these tyres, I suspect we should be able to drive over pretty much anything. So let's just test that out with some of these big old banks of dirt on the outside here. Yep, no problem whatsoever. Suspension's soft enough. Let's see what it's like when we get right up high. Yep. It's kind of got a 5-cylinder engine sound to it, actually. It's like a miniature 4x4 Quattro. Lean over. I don't know why it's doing that. It's having a bit of a moment. So it's very, very short geared, this thing. So that's 6th gear, and we're just to be flat out. So it's almost as if it's geared for off-roading. So we've got the low range gearbox in there. So that's why you run out of gears very quickly. So let's change it out to the road street version and see if we have a bit more gearing to play with. In fact, we have even less. Yeah, we do. We have even less gearing. Okay. So you can't even make it up to national speed limit in 6th gear without being on the rev limiter. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because we don't really have much in the way of off-roading capabilities within Live for Speed. Obviously, there's the rallycross tracks, and you can kind of go off onto some dirt roads and things in some places on Live for Speed, but not massively so. So we kind of need a specific off-roady map, really, to put that to its full test. It's obviously got itself stuck in a bit of a loop. That's fine. Let's carry on. Anything else on here that we've not yet tried that we'd like to try? That's the other Jimny there, which is the I'm not quite sure what difference it is than having slightly less knobbly tyres. Running down through here, see if there's anything else that grabs my eye that we haven't tested yet. So there you go. So another one of the Super Tourers there, and we've got a Laguna Super Tourer there too. Anything else down here? I think we've tested quite a few of these things. So I think maybe what we... no, we haven't. This one is what I want to test. Before we move on to what I was going to do next, this is the Engel sidecar. Now, I did see on the test notes recently that there was provision for allowing sidecars, and this looks like it. So this is the first sidecar we have in Live for Speed. We've had bikes, but now we have a 3-wheeled vehicle here. So I don't know... No, the outside wheel's not driven, is it? It's merely just there for support. It's not a driven wheel. But yes, we've got a classic motorbike here with added sidecar in there as well. Of course, you have a driver in there. Excellent. And they're holding on for dear life. That's just what we want to see. Right. let's go test this out. Realize I had a reverse gear. Let's give you the outside view so you can see what's going on here. Nice chrome on the exhaust pipes there. A bit of a speed wobble going on. Right. Very sensitive steering on this one. Just gonna turn that down a touch. Yep, it's definitely prone to getting the wobbles. Come on, get it under control. Okay, good. We're good. No. My poor passenger. We do donuts on the bike. Yeah, look at that, there we go. What happens if we go the other way? Do you tip over? Get off the grass. There we go. Right. Let's go... Is it this way we want to try? Can you tip it over? No, you actually get a bit of understeer if you're going around the other direction. Can't even get it sliding at all. It's almost like you can do whatever you want with the steering wheel. It's not going to do anything. Right. Up around the sweeping uphill left-hander. Not very sweeping. With this particular vehicle, it's super sensitive on the steering. Okay, climbing the top of the hill. Now we can start to pick up some speed as we come back down the hill again. Just trying to keep the steering wheel as absolutely straight as I possibly can. On the brakes. Turn in. Just sliding. Ah. This is desperately trying to ease it through some of these corners, and it's got the death wobbles. Right, here we go. On the brakes. Scandinavian flick into the left-hander. Not intentional, this has happened that way. So Frank says, you know, Phil, when using a sidecar, you're practically obligated to have a dog in there wearing vintage pilot's goggles. Yes. With his tongue hanging out. We also need a Sean Connery in there so he can have his umbrella just thrust into the spokes of another bike going past. Oh, you can't tip it over, yes! Oh dear, my driver's sunk. Well, that's good. I wasn't sure whether we could tip it over, but we managed to achieve it. Currently, my my rider and passenger are busy sampling what concrete tastes like. Oh dear. Well, that's cool. I mean, again, it just shows the capabilities of the Live for Speed engine that you can have things like this in here, which is pretty cool. Right. Well, let's do something here. Let's. Although I wanted to see this earlier, so let's go back to the main menu, and we will do a single player race here. Let's clear the grid of vehicles. Let's find ourselves an appropriate bus here. In fact, no, let's just search here if it's still here. There it is. Cool. Let's join the tank. Let's find a circuit to do this. We'll do this at Blackwood. Right. I'm good at playing so it doesn't set itself right. So without a few tanks, let's go find ourselves a suitable bus. Let's have a look through here. We're just gonna have to just grab one when we see it. So there's the school bus. That's an option. What have we got? TSV8, modern V8 powered coach. Might be a bit quick. Oh, that's like a Lambo Countach, a new one. It's pretty cool. Let's put some trains on just for a laugh. Oh my word. Right. There's the crocodile and the dodgem. What am I looking at? Forklift there as well. Come on, we're looking for a bus. No, we're not going to take the top fuel bus. That's just going to be overkill. Where are they? I know there's some more in here. The Electrobus? No. Where have they all gone? Sure there's more than this. Let's search for a bus, shall we? Not a bad start. Let's go with the Caro bus then. We're not taking the tuned one. There we go. We'll go with passengers on board as well. There you go. Adding some extra stability at the back. Ready to race. Right, so we're going to add a few buses to the playlist here as well. We'll start ourselves at the back of the grid. Watch it all play out in front of us. 2 laps of Blackwood should be sufficient. We'll let the AI do its thing. The things you can do in Live for Speed, eh? So we have tanks, we have buses, and tank engines. So we kind of have a crossover in between. Okay, before we load into this, place your bets. Who's going to come out on top of this? Is it going to be the tanks? Is it going to be the trains? Or the buses? Who's going to win this one? Cast your votes now. I genuinely think the tank has an outside chance. We've not checked the info on them, but I think the tank could be a little bit of a dark horse here. Right. Here we go. 2 laps of Blackwood coming up. Not that you can see it, of course. At some point, I guess we're going to have the green light. Oh yeah, I can just about see it up there. Right, we're going. Off we go. Oh, we got things spinning. I think that's one of the tanks. Yep. We have AI taking avoiding action. Ooh, we have... Oh no. That didn't go as planned. Everyone manages to continue. The tank pushing that one along. Let's try again. This time we know we need to avoid carnage ahead, so we're going to keep a clear view of what's going on. Right. Ready for the green lights. Green and away we go. Got a good start there, up behind the bus in front, but that means we have a very limited view of the carnage. So I'm going to... Okay, oh, I was going to go to the left, but that's possibly not the safest option either. Oh! Avoid them, avoid them. Okay, we're through. No. Those tank engines causing chaos. Right, we're good. Now we're up and running. Okay, into turn 1. Thinking about it, maybe the bus does have the upper hand here. The turrets move on the tanks. Okay, get in the slipstream here. Another gear to pull. There we go. See you later. How you doing back there, guys? You all well? There we go. It's not a sight you wish to see in your rearview mirrors. Some tanks with the turrets pointing at you. Yeah, so I say we're definitely quicker than the tanks at the moment. So let's just ease off here and have a bit of a play with them rather than just disappearing off into the distance. Where are they? They're miles away, almost pulling to a stop. Come on. Stop here and hopefully they don't hit us. Here they come. I mean, they're not too slow for a tank, to be fair. They are getting along quite nicely. They seem to have the acceleration advantage over us, but we just have more top speed, which is a big advantage here at Blackwood because you have a big long straight. Right. Let's go around the outside here. Try not to annoy them, because they don't fancy getting shot by their cannons. They are struggling up the hills. We have some of the buses catching up behind here as well. They've refound the circuit after all the chaos with the tank engines. I think I can't see them, but I think the tanks are really struggling to get up the hill. I think they've actually stopped. They can't get up the hill. Where are they? Oh well. Normally tanks can go anywhere, but apparently not uphill. Let's go get this other bus. Look at him chuck it into there. Get on. Get on you. Ooh, that's a curb. Epic race, says Dora. Yeah. Yeah. Hotly contested, this one. Alright, let's go hunt down this other bus. Yellow flags. I suspect there's still some vehicles on their side coming up here. Yeah, there we go. Just the one. Just the one victim of the start line in a catastrophe. Everyone else got going. So I think maybe what we do, we'll do it again, but we'll go in the train. Ooh, it's a tank in the gravel. That's not the way to go. Replacement for the cancelled GP. Oh, we got some more death up here. It's a tank trying to force its way to the bus, which has ended up on its side over the barriers. Cool. That other bus has got some pace. He's gone. Don't think we'll catch him before the end now. What we need is for some lurking a back marker up here ahead, just to kind of haphazardly pull across into the middle of the track and take him out. To be fair, this probably is just as exciting as the GP could have been. You never know. It could have been a good one, but it's also been just as exciting as this race. Ooh, has he had a bit of a spin moment on the exit of this corner? No. Certainly giving it everything going around those corners. It's maybe it's the way to go. Maybe I'm just driving it too steadily. Now we've got to avoid the tanks, which have not only not made it up the hill, they've also rolled back down the hill. There's two more here. Bit of lappery. Don't you dare pull across into me. Right. See that? An aggressive move. That's what you get when you race a tank, I suppose. Right, downhill. Avoid that curb on the inside. Or just clout it, one or two. Music says hello, welcome. Oh, it's okay, don't worry. He did, didn't he? He totally tried to block me there. That was a shrewd move, that one. Well, we have clawed a little bit of time back to the bus ahead. So, another lap, perhaps we may have been able to get on terms with them, but no. He takes the W on this one. Here we go, up over the line. Second place for us. Let's see if we can right this other bus here. Give him a helping hand. No, we just pushed him over the other way. There we go. Right. This time, we'll leave the buses in there, but we will go find... Where's the tank engine gone? We will be able to find... Oh, we have tried... Yeah, we have tried the UFO. Where is it then? Let's go find that train. There it is. William. There we go. Oh, that's a happier face. We'll go with that one. Again, we'll start from the back on this one. This time we'll do a single lap race here and see how far up through the grid we can get. Of course, we're looking at the side of the engine, which is going to make things interesting with regards to trying to get the inside line to some of these corners. Right. I'm just about to see the start lights. Steam engine noises as well. Oh, it's got some pace. It's doing the move down the outside on the grass. Really interesting. Serious handling issues. Oh man. Alright, okay. Well, now that I've broken my wrists, let's go again. Of course, this is meant to go on rails, so metal on concrete or tarmac is not a great recipe for grip. Let's try and point it in a straight line as possible. And unleash the steam. It's too much. Retired. Yep. Yeah. Let's just review what happened there, shall we? We've got the drivers hanging outside. Very good. We had a great start. I'll be honest. We started off really well. There we go. Rev the building. Off we go. Oh, the steam engine's going. It's good that they got the steam out of them as well, which is pretty cool. Whoa, sideways on the grass. At this point, I'm thinking, oh yeah, we've got this. Not really. Reverse entry to turn one. Very stable though. I expected that to turn over there, but it didn't. Off he goes. Oh man. Beautiful. Thomas the Tank D1 edition. We've got a bus hot on our heels there. Up along as we engage the steam. Some serious serious speed out of this thing. That's some serious out of control madness. And that was the end of Thomas, or William in this case. Oh dear, good fun. Right, well, I'm not sure there's any others I was going to test this evening. I think that's probably going to be our lot for the evening. This is just a final scan through, just in case there's anything which I've missed, which I wanted to kind of cover this evening. The German Tirana, which is like another VW thing. K-van could be fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the evening, I think. So what we might do is Music's still looping around. Let's just try this one here as a final fling. This is the Panther. Another Japanese saloon type car with huge rear splitter or spoiler on there. Let's go check this out. Not in the race format though. I think that's probably going to be a bit too chaotic. So Neo6 said, I see you tested the M4G82 mod. It's beta right now. I need better brakes and handling settings. Both setups are made by Ken. Oh, cool. Yeah, no, it's good. It is good. It's I did enjoy driving that one. It's a bit of a beast. It's good fun though. Right, so this has got a standard LFS interior. Wow, so that's got a huge boost of power right at the top end of the power band. Watch this. Let's get it slowed down. Oop. I need to turn my force feed back on again after William almost broke me. Right. That's better. Ah dear, good fun. It's always fun testing out new mods for Live for Speed. There's some interesting interesting creations out there, and some really nice ones as well. I mean, you can see there's a lot of effort put in by a lot of the Live for Speed community to create some of these mods, and they really are very nice indeed. Right, let's see what the Panther can do through the corners. Definitely got a lot of pickup from the corners. It just accelerates really well. Perhaps a little hesitant to turn in on the initial turn in for the corner, but then nothing a bit of right foot can't cure, as we've discovered so far a few times this evening. We're out of gearing in fifth here. It's not stopping though. Let's flick it through here. There we go. Yeah, so it's quite nice. It handles pretty well. It's quite nicely balanced. When you get it sideways, you can turn it around, and it's good fun to throw through the corners as well. Just need to make sure you brake nice and early for the corners, otherwise you will run on a little bit too deep. So there we go. That's just about us for the evening, guys. So again, big thank you for your company this evening, as ever. Thank you for spending the evening with me and going through some of these new creations for Live for Speed. It's always fun. Check out if you haven't checked out already, check out our videos that we posted. We did a couple of pre-recorded ones. We had one on the legends in iRacing, which was good fun, and also we tested out the 1906 Renault AK versus the most modern Grand Prix car, just to see what the difference was, and it was quite significant and worth a watch. So if you haven't watched those, go check them out. And if you're new here and this is the first time you've seen a Live for Speed stream or any of our live streams, feel free to hit the like button. It really helps get the videos out to the people who want to see them. So yeah, thank you very much for all who subscribed, obviously, and for helping us reach the 2K barrier, which is not massive in the overall scheme of things, but for me it's amazing. So I really appreciate every single one of you, as said earlier on in the evening. But thanks again, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you back for some more fun sim racing action very, very soon indeed. But for now, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.